Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, one thing I've learned about being a professional in this field is that you can't look at a child and make any judgments as to where they're going to go. I mean, I can speak from personal experience, and I'm sure Sharon the same as being a provider. You know, there's children's homes that I still treat today that I walked in when they were 2 and 3, and I remember something in my stomach going, "Oh, I hope, I just hope for this family," but this child's faced with a lot of challenges. They're not communicating. I'm not getting eye contact. They're not responding. And if I told you today, this might not be every parent's experience. So, I say it with a grain of salt, but, a lot of those children today are succeeding. They're doing beautifully. They're in mainstream settings. I have children that are reading 3 times their grade level. So you can't place a limit on what's possible. And even said, each child's going to reach their limit wherever it may be. But, our job as providers is to keep pushing and trucking along and not impose that. So yeah, I have no doubt they're capable of anything and everything if given the right tools. There's a quote that I always go to that it's not the child who can't learn, it's the teacher who can't teach. And so I think if we subscribe to that methodology, we'll really be able to get them where they need to go.
Sharon,
So.
you have something to add?
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. Is you really can't judge the book by its cover. We really need to dig into the pages and see where we're going to go. But one of the real critical variables is early identification. We have to find these kids early and start the interventions as soon as possible. We've got an event coming up on Saturday, May 29th, down at the I guess it's Sun Life Stadium now.
Yes.
For the Florida Marlins game.
This hour it's Sun Life Stadium.
This hour it's
probably
Sun
will
Life Stadium.
change.
But we will have one of our mobile developmental clinics on site before the game. Parents are welcome to bring their children, talk with some of the professionals. They'll be conducting live screenings. The screenings take maybe about 20 minutes to do. Now, again, this is not a diagnosis. It's just really to screen the child to make sure everything's on target, or if there are any red flags, that we provide you, point you in the right direction to follow up further. We've got a kids clinic going on that day. Kids can come out between 10 and 11:45. We've got some players who will be out there helping with the kids clinic, and again, our mobile clinic will be out there all day doing the screenings up until about the opening pitch.
All right, so that's the Florida Marlins game that's coming up this Saturday, I believe, if that's correct.
Saturday, May 29th.
Saturday, May 29th. That is.
We also have we'll be on site at Concourse 100. We've got a table set up. If anybody's got questions, they certainly can come by and speak with us. We can also direct them in the right path. We also have an online raffle. If they go to unicornchildrensfoundation.org /Marlins, we've got a Cody Ross signed baseball. We've got an opportunity for 2 people to visit the broadcast booth before a game. 2 bullpen box seats to an upcoming Marlins game.
Wow.
And you can view a Marlins batting practice for 2. So this is one way we can provide some really unique opportunities to families, and I'm sure some parents out there who might be interested in acquiring some of those items to take part in. And it helps to raise funds to really support the programs that we're going after.
Wonderful. And, Sharon, you mentioned intervention, and it has such an ominous tone to that. And really, when it comes to intervention and children with learning disabilities, it's actually a very positive experience. I think it's important that parents understand when you talk about intervention, we're not talking about something that's very negative. It is, in fact, a very positive experience.
Yeah, children learn through play. So when we say interventions and we're dealing with early childhood, a lot of the treatment packages are really disguised as play. They're play opportunities that we use as learning experiences. They're structured learning experiences through play.
Excellent. Well, folks, we are on the show Dare to Dream. It's the Unicorn Children's Foundation show, Dare to Dream. Sharon Alexander, who is the executive director of the Unicorn Children's Foundation, is with us. And our special guest today, also from the Unicorn Children's Foundation, Michael Pinmen and Charlotte Fudge. And it's amazing. Sharon and I talk about this all the time. When you first begin to talk about, begin the show every week, you think to yourself, my gosh, how are we going to possibly ever fill up 30 minutes of airtime? What are we ever going to find to talk about. And then once we get involved and we start talking about all the many services that are available and all the great progress that's being made, and you look up and you realize that the time is almost up. But it is wonderful to know that there is the Unicorn Children's Foundation out there, and it's important that parents know if they have a suspicion that they have a child who may be suffering from various learning disabilities, that you can go on the website, which is at unicornchildrensfoundation.org, and get lots of information, lots of resources there. It's also important that the professionals know that if they have a young patient who they may be seeing and they're not sure if that's the diagnosis or not, because as we've mentioned several times during the show, that this is still a relatively new field, that they can get helpful information there too. And the website is really kind of ground zero for all the great stuff that Unicorn Children's Foundation does. And we urge you all to visit that website, unicornchildrensfoundation.org. And also the phone number is
888-6-UNICORN. And for information on Central Reach and Butterfly Effects, we'll have a link up on our website as well. So if they want to find out more information on these electronic databases and intervention services, Charlotte's part of our professional advisory board, and we're looking now to develop some projects where we might be able to make it easier for parents to find resources out in the community.
Well, that's great. Before we wrap things up, Charlotte, we'll start with you. We'd like to give you just a few minutes as the time winds down to just share some final thoughts with us today.
I just wanted to thank you guys for having us on, and thank the Unicorn Foundation for all the fabulous and amazing work it does in the field, especially being such a proponent for, looking out to see what's happening, what's new, and bridging that gap. It's a huge feat, and they're doing great strides at that. So thank you, Sharon. Thank you to Unicorn.
Michael?
Well, I think that I'll sort of second that. I think the world is now a village, and I think everyone needs to sort of stand up and take care of the kids, regardless of whether it's yours or your friends' kids or your sister's kids. I think the more that we can do to support organizations like the Unicorn Foundation, the better off we'll all be. Because as Sharon, eloquently stated, the children are our future. They really, really are.
That's a good point, Sharon. Let's talk one more time about the Marlins game promotion that you have coming up, because I think that would be a great way for parents who maybe have suspicions about their children suffering from some learning disabilities. A good way for them to take the kids to something fun, as you said, and then maybe get some answers without freaking the kids out a little too much.
Absolutely. Again, we'll be at the game Saturday, May 29th. There is a kids clinic that's going on early in the day, starting at 10 o'clock a.m. at Sun Life Stadium. It's about 2 hours. We will have our mobile developmental clinic that's being operated in partnership with Florida Atlantic University. They have clinicians on board who are qualified to provide screenings. Bring the kids in for about 20 minutes. They play with the kids, but it's a very structured play session because these clinicians are looking for specific red flags. The mobile clinic will be there until the opening pitch. We will be on site both at the down by the mobile clinic as well as at Concourse 100. We've got the online raffle going on at Unicorn Children's Foundation /Marlins.
All right, and again, you're always happy to hear from folks who would like to volunteer their time and help out. You're always glad to hear from people who'd like to donate, and the phone number that they can call is
888-6-UNICORN.
And the website, again, unicornchildrensfoundation.org. Michael, Charlotte, Sharon, it's great to have you all on. You all did a fantastic job, and I want to personally thank you all for all the great work that you do, and I'm very proud to have been associated with Unicorn Children's Foundation. I'd like to thank our good friend Renata Molavi, who got me involved in Unicorn Children's Foundation several months ago, and it's something that I feel very strongly about, and it's really nice to be able to sit and talk with you all, and it's reassuring to know that there are people out there who are working on this relatively new field to get some answers to help parents and to help children and help professionals as well. This is the Dare to Dream Show, the Unicorn Children's Foundation Dare to Dream Show. Our time is up for this week. We urge you to please join us again at the same time next week for another edition of Dare to Dream.
What we do at Unicorn, your heart will understand.